darkness. Never mind the storm. Never mind the blood-red moon. The night will be over soon. The night will be over soon.
At first, Violet comes across as a, cold and closed-off introvert, which makes sense in the world that she lives in. She's been through a lot. She's been through trauma, loss, and the horrors in the apocalypse. But like many characters in the world, she built walls to protect herself. But underneath all that tough exterior, Violet is probably gonna be one of the most kindest souls you'll ever meet in the goddamn series. In this contrast, that makes Violet so intriguing. She's tough, yes, but that toughness has a deep well of compassion, loyalty, and an intense need to protect those she cares about. Speaking of, one of Violet's defining traits is her loyalty. In a world where trust is scarce, Violet stands by those she loves, especially Clementine, depending on your choice, and the kids of the Harrison boarding school for troubled youth. She's a protector, willing to go through great lengths to keep her people safe, whether it's standing up against the external threats or even helping a group navigate tough decisions. Violet's loyalty never wavers. Even in moments of disagreement, Violet's actions are rooted in her desire to protect. She isn't afraid to challenge the group when she believes it's for the greater good, but she's also willing to sacrifice her own comfort to make sure the people she loves are safe. But where Violet truly shines is in those soft, subtle moments, the times where she allows herself to be vulnerable and let others in, whether it's her blossoming relationship with Clementine or moments where she opens up about her past. These glimpses into Violet's heart shows us the real person behind the walls. There's just something about Violet's vulnerability that makes her incredibly relatable. She's been hurt just like everyone else, but she still finds it within herself to care, to love, and to connect. Violet's connection with Clementine is one of the most memorable parts of the final season of Telltale The Walking Dead. Whether you choose to pursue a romantic relationship with her or not, it's undeniable that she and Clem share a special bond. Violet's care for Clementine is one of the things that shows her true colors. She doesn't just see Clementine as a leader, but someone she wants to protect and be close to. In a world where so much is taken from you, finding someone to trust and care for is everything. And that's exactly what Violet and Clem find in each other. What makes Violet such a sweetheart is her ability to care deeply, even when the world gives her every reason not to. She's the kind of character who, despite her flaws and rough edges, she's full of love. And it's this love that makes her stand out as one of the most likable characters in the final season of Telltale The Walking Dead. Hell, the whole entire goddamn series in general. In a world as broken as The Walking Dead's, finding someone who still believes in love, loyalty, and friendship is rare. Violet is that rare gem. Tough but caring, broken but still hopeful. And that's why we'll always remember her as one of the true nicest people in the series. Hell, one of the true sweethearts of this series as well. Let's just talk about the main traits of Ben. His fear of failure. From the moment he joins the group, he's already out of his depth. He's not a survivalist, he's not a leader, he's not even a fucking fighter. And, like many of us in real life, he's terrified of letting others down. When Ben admits to stealing the supplies that caused the Bennett raid, we see a scared little man, well not little man but a teenager, who thought he was doing something that was right for some reason, but was too afraid to admit it when it all went wrong. How many of us actually made a bad goddamn choice only to panic and try to cover it up, or making things worse? Ben represents the fear of making a mistake, a fear that can actually paralyze us too. To be honest, I could rant about this man all day. I could talk all the shit in the world. Hell, I could be like Berlizzi, be like, is this nigga serious? But nah, Ben isn't just afraid of failure, he's consumed by guilt too. His decisions led to the deaths of people in the group, literally. And that way nearly crushes this man's spirit for real. Hell, even Kenny got on this man's ass, thinking about to beat his skinny ass. This is a feeling many people can relate to though. The suffocating guilt of knowing that your actions, even if unintentional, can even hurt others too. Even I know how this shit feel. Guilt is a powerful emotion, and Telltale nailed this shit. They knocked the ball with this shit with Ben's character. This man constantly just messes shit up. This man second guesses himself. Hell, he even blamed himself for all the tragedies that even spiral out of his control, which was mostly his fault, to be honest. But in life, when things go wrong, we ought to do the same. We become our own worst critics, even if we couldn't even predicted the outcome. Throughout the series, Ben struggles with feeling like an outsider. You know, he's younger. Even though Clementine was younger, she had Lee. But, you know, he was less capable than Clementine because she had Lee. And he knows it. You know, the group constantly reminds this man, unintentionally or intentionally or not, that he's nothing more than just a burden. This is something that just resonates with many people, you know, feeling like we don't quite, you know, belong, we don't fit in, you know, we feel like that, you know, we're not good enough, or that we're holding others back, or holding yourself back as well. Like, I ain't gonna lie, they were doing being dirty from the get-go. Like, damn, from the get-go, they wasn't even, from the get-go, they wasn't doing this. They were doing it, man, dirty, man, goddamn, man, shit, motherfucker. Doing it, man, dirty like that. Like, damn. Like, from the beginning, they were doing that man dirty. That man don't got no sense, man. You know, many players, such as myself, you know, we just feel frustrated with Ben sometimes because this man just makes mistake after mistake after mistake after mistake after mistake. Like, mistakes that others wouldn't. But that's what makes that man so human out of all the characters, for real. You know, this man represents the feeling of not being equipped for the challenges life throws at you. That man was just on his way to goddamn Macon just to play basketball. That man was supposed to be hooping that day. But then the zombie apocalypse happened out of nowhere. Then nigga don't know what to do. Nigga had hoop dreams. Bro was trying to be MJ. Now no goddamn Rick Grimes. But sometimes we are just in over our heads, and no matter how hard we try, we just feel like we're failing. Despite his mistakes, Ben desperately wants to prove himself. He doesn't want to be the weak link of the group. He just wants to be someone they can rely on. But let's be honest, that man just make it hard, cause goddamn, you had Clementine, you and Clementine was surrounded in that wall. Hell, you could have picked Clementine little ass up and just fucking jog right on with Lee them. Man, you ain't had to run away and leave her by herself. Like, god dang, like, okay, I get you was scared and all, but man, come on, man, that's Clementine. You could have just picked her up and just fucking ran to Lee. That's all you had to do. Just give it to her like a baby. Just pick up Clem, run up to Lee, then give it to her. That's all you had to do, but now you just run away. So I'll admit, sometimes that man just make it hard for everybody to like him. But like, come on, man, like he just wants to be accepted for real. But he makes it hard though. That's the problem. Like this desire to step up to prove your worth is something many of us struggle with in real life though. Whether it's at work or in relationships or hell, even you know in our personal goals. His moment of vulnerability on the rooftop with Lee and crew was a turning point. Like, he admits that he's tired of messing up, tired of being a screw up, and let's be honest, who hasn't felt that at some point in your life? The fear that no one matters to you is never enough. In the end, Ben's story is a tragic one. Whether you like him or hate him, whether you saved him or you didn't save him, his art is about accepting who he is, flaws and all. You know, he may never be the hero, but that doesn't mean that his efforts don't matter. It's just a reflection of life sometimes. It's not about being perfect, but about trying your best, even when you feel like you're constantly failing. When we first meet Carlos and Sarah, it's clear that they share a unique dynamic. Carlos is a protective father, and Sarah, well, she's like that one toxic girl. Like, she's sheltered, naive, and fragile. Unlike Clementine, Sarah hasn't been prepared for the harsh realities of the world. But, like, how did it come to this? Carlos believes that shielding Sarah from the danger will keep her ass safe, which is dumb as fuck, but okay, do you her dad. But is that really the best way to protect her in a world like this? Hell no. From the beginning, Carlos set strict boundaries towards her. Like, he repeatedly tells her to stay out of trouble and rely on him for survival. This overprotectiveness stems from, you know, his love, but it also leaves Sarah ill-equipped to even handle this world in the first place. Like, unlike Clementine, who had learned how, you know, to become self-reliant and learn the lessons of becoming self-reliant, Sarah remains dependent on her father all the time. Carlos's overprotectiveness is rooted in fear though. You know, he knows Sarah is emotionally vulnerable and struggles with anxiety, but she's not mentally prepared to face the world on her own though. But his solution is to shelter her. You know, just keep her from learning the truth about what's really out there. That was stupid to even do it in the first place. And anyway, is this man really a goddamn doctor? Cause how the word can you not tell a walker bite from a dog bite? Make it make sense.
Dummy, yeah. Yeah. Dummy, yeah. Yeah. Dummy, yeah. Yeah.
By shielding her from the dangers, Carlos unintentionally stunts her development. Sarah doesn't even learn how to defend herself, nor even understand the full extent of the threat of what they got going on in the first place. This man tries to keep her in a bubble, in a relic of the old world where innocence could still be protected. But in The Walking Dead, ignorance is a death sentence. Just ask Kate. The moment Carlos dies is the turning point for Sarah. Everything she knows, her entire support system, is ripped away in an instant. Without her father, Sarah is completely lost. She literally just shuts down in the face of danger, paralyzed by fear and grief. And this is where Carlos' greatest failure becomes evident. By never allowing her to even face the smallest of challenges or dangers on her own, he basically robbed this little girl of the tools that she needs to survive without him. Man, that man was gone, and guess what? That girl ain't knew what to do. She was just sitting there crisscross applesauce. She did not care about nothing no more. When the time come for her to actually step up and save herself, it's not that she can't. She just didn't want to. She literally just sat there, and depending on your choice, you could have just left her ass dead to die, or you could have saved her just for her to die later. Like the choice to even let her live or not, it don't even matter because she died either way. Like the word is too overwhelming and too damn terrified for. Let me tell you something, it does not even matter. What was the point of even making that choice to save her anyway, just for her to die later on? That was so stupid. In the end, Sarah's fate is sealed by the very thing Carlos wanted to avoid: her inability to actually survive in this unforgiving world by herself. Carlos wanted to protect his daughter, and you know, I respect that, but in doing so, he unintentionally doomed her. Contrast this with Clementine, who, despite her age, was taught to fend for herself, make tough decisions, and navigate the horrors of the apocalypse. That's why we all love Lee, man. Lee to go for real. But where Sarah, she was coddled. Clementine was forced to mature quickly, and while it was harsh, it was necessary for her survival. The tragedy of Sarah's story isn't just that she lost her father, it's the fact that she was never even given a chance to grow. You know, Carlos's failure wasn't in loving Sarah too much, but in believing that he could actually protect her forever in a world overrun by walkers. Survival means adaptation, and adaptation means learning how to goddamn deal with fear, loss, and danger head on. It's a heartbreaking story, but it also teaches us something about parenting in a world where danger lurks around every corner. You can't always protect your loved ones from harm now, but you can give them the strength and tools to protect themselves just in case if your time comes, or hell, you might out of nowhere just get bitten, or hell, even get killed off early. Ultimately, Carlos failed Sarah, not because he didn't care about her, but because he cared too much about her. You know, in his attempt to shield her from the world's horrors, he left her vulnerable to them. You know, and in the world of The Walking Dead, being vulnerable means the difference between life and death. So RIP to Sarah and RIP to Carlos, but god dang it, Carlos, you failed your daughter, I'm sorry. Marlin is the leader of a group of kids at Erickson Boarding School for Troubled Youth. In a world overrun by walkers, the children had created their own little community to survive. Marlin stepped up as a leader not because he wants power, but because someone had to take charge. When a whole lot of adults literally lift y'all ass to die, basically. What else you gonna do? Someone had to step up. But yeah, he was someone who took charge. He's practical, courageous, and most importantly, determined to protect those he cares about at the time. But leadership in a world like this isn't easy. The stress of protecting the others while dealing with scarce resources and constant danger takes a toll on him. Marlin's desperation eventually led him to his darkest decision, which was sacrificing Sophie and Minerva to raiders in exchange for safety of the group. When Clementine arrives, she begins to unravel the carefully constructed lie that Marlin has built around himself. You know, the truth is that Marlin wasn't a monster. He was a scared kid who made a terrible choice. He sacrificed Sophie and Minerva not out of malice or fucking like all out savagery, but out of fear. He believed that if he didn't act, the raiders would take more lives. This decision haunted him, causing him to like live in constant guilt and paranoia. His actions weren't justified, but they were understandable. The burden of leadership can push even the strongest people to make tragic mistakes, especially in a world like this one. Despite his grave mistakes, there are signs that Marlin could have been redeemed. Before everything came crashing down, he showed moments of genuine care for his friends. Marlin had the potential to like actually confront his past, make amends, and become a better leader. If Marlin had survived his confrontation with Clementine and AJ, he would have had a chance to face the consequences and repercussions of his choices head on. It's possible that with time, he could have become like a character with one of the most compelling redemption arcs in the series. But unfortunately, that boy AJ had other plans.
You win. I can't.
That boy AJ shot him, ending his life before he could even begin to atone for what he done. Some argue that AJ's actions was justified. After all, Marlin had pointed a gun at Clementine for the longest, but it's hard not to like feel like something important was lost with Marlin's death though. Marlin's sudden death left the group in disarray. Without him, the kids had to figure out how to survive on their own, and AJ's actions set a new precedent for how conflicts were dealt with, violence instead of reconciliation. Let's imagine for a moment how Marlin's redemption arc could have played out. The first step would be taking responsibility. Marlin would need to openly admit to his mistakes, not just out of guilt, but to make things right. He could have worked his way to like earn back the trust of the other kids and fought for the group's safety, this time without sacrificing anyone. Like he could have met Minerva like how they did in real life. Well, not in real life, but in the game, basically. And then Minerva gonna be talking her shit to Marlin, and then Marlin gonna be like, man, okay, man, I'm sorry for what I did. And then he's gonna find out about Sophie's death when Minerva killed her. And then, like, basically, he's gonna help everybody, get out of the boat, basically, like, fight off the Delta. Like, that basically gonna earn his trust back. That's how I would've done it. And I ain't gonna lie, this beat is getting on my nerves because it's a little too loud for it to only be at 20 volume. But hey, man, bear with me. It's about to be over in a minute. Like, a redemption arc doesn't mean erasing, like, his past sins, but rather, like, showing growth and willingness to, like, change. Marlin could have been a symbol of how even a world as bleak as it is, there's room for second chances and the possibility of becoming a better person. And I know what y'all thinking. What about 10? Man, nah, fuck 10. That nigga was responsible for many lives. Like Marlin, what Marlin did, what 10 did made Marlin look like a saint. Like, come on, man, like, let's be honest. That man 10 was a cause of many deaths. Marlin just did nothing but sent 2 people away. You acting like he killed them. Nah, forget all that. Marlin's story in Telltale The Walking Dead is a tragic one. He was a young leader who made terrible choices, but he was also just a kid who deserved a chance to like learn and grow from his mistakes. In a world that constantly strips away people's humanity, Marlin could have been an example of how redemption is still possible, even in the darkest of times. But instead, his story serves as a reminder of how quickly hope can be extinguished and how not every character can like get a chance at a redemption arc. And Telltale The Walking Dead, sometimes there's just no time for second chances.